Welcome back. I am joined now by a strap rat. That's right. You know who you guys are. You're the wonderful viewers that we have, fans of the Strategy Room, and you send the emails into strategyroom@foxnews.com. We read them every now and then. We'll Skype with you. We'll have you by phone. We love to do that. But on the rare chance that you are actually in New York City, we want you to stop by 6th, which is Avenue of the Americas, and 48th, where we sit, right on the corner, right across from Radio City Music Hall. And that's exactly what Doug Mallette has done this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Where are you visiting us from?
I'm from Houston.
Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Wow. And I know on occasion, because you called in once,
Hi.
Now you guys get to see him right here in person, a strap rat. We have talked about creating jobs. Uh-oh, hold on one second.
I have not been mic'd.
Okay, now we'll mic you again.
All right.
Welcome, Doug Mallette from Houston, Texas. We have talked when you have spoken to us by phone and via your emails. Oh, look at you. You have your own fan club.
I kind of do. Yes.
Because it has like 15 exclamation points. Much love from the True Strap Rats. We love you, dude. Make us proud. Sarah from Annapolis, Maryland.
Absolutely.
Creating jobs, because you say that's really what we need to do. And you say we can do it through space.
Absolutely.
How?
Space is the one region that has no boundaries and no limits. You look up and it just goes forever. And so the potential there is unlimited. So you need people to work that potential. And there are so many things that the space industry provides, and I'm not necessarily referring to NASA space industry, because when people think space, they think the meatball, the NASA logo. But there's commercial space, which is really starting to become a new and powerful force in the space industry. People like Richard Branson doing Virgin Galactic, trying to get average everyday people up into the stars, and not just the select few that are appointed by the government, the astronauts that we've come to know. And so as you start developing a space industry that's trying to get the average everyday person into space, you can hire a lot of people to make that happen.
And these are private dollars. This would not be run by the government.
Right, exactly. What the government can do is level the playing field and make it a little more equitable for the private industry to get involved in that kind of a business.
How?
Well, we all know that a lot of commerce is international trade, and space is definitely an international endeavor. No one nation is going to build a base on the moon, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to, even the ISS was an international space station, was a partnership. And so if you're going to do that, and you want commercial industry to get involved, you need to reduce some of the regulations like ITAR, the International Trade and Arms Regulations. Right now, that is a choke on the commercial industry, because they fear everything as a national defense issue when you run into space. So private companies can't work with other private companies to do legitimate, peaceful, safe space, but they're not allowed to even work with each other.
Very interesting. Sounds like healthcare companies state to state. Turning Point, How Space Exploration and Development Will Determine the Rise or Fall of Humanity by Douglas Mallette. If there were ever a time in human history when we needed to focus on something greater and more grand, important than our own backyards, now is the time.
Absolutely.
That's what you say in your book. Creating jobs, you talked about a number that was huge, like 400,000 jobs.
Yeah. Actually, the scenario I run is 1.6 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Over what period of time?
Almost instantaneously. I'll draw the correlation. The Apollo program cost in 2008 $150 billion. Okay. All right. Obama's stimulus was $700 billion. So let's just look at those two numbers and pretend for a moment that he spent that $700 billion on just the space industry, both public and private, NASA and the private sector. You could fund 4 full-scale Apollo-sized programs. Each Apollo program employed 400,000 people. Ah,
that's where you got that 400,000 from, okay.
Yeah, 400,000 times 4, 1.6 million. And you're talking people that are making...
You could almost give everybody a job. And now, but what kind of jobs are we talking about? What kind of I mean, they're pretty specialized, right?
Some people think so, but that's actually not necessarily true. You still need administrative people. Space is a business. You still need business-minded people. You need marketing people. They're going to have to make commercials to advertise themselves. It's more than just us science and engineering geeks that are building and testing the things. It's also the business aspect of selling it. And there's more to it than just the science and everything. And that's what I'm trying to convey in the book, along with a whole host of other topics.
Well, I got to tell you, he called himself a science and engineering geek. You make geek look good, my friend.
Thank you.
What exactly do you do?
I'm a systems engineer with the Space Shuttle program.
A systems engineer with the Space Shuttle program. I just want to press in for just a moment. We have some very special strap rats. You guys have been holding out on me. You little smarties. I want all of you to start to come and visit and keep company with us here in the strategy room. This is really, really special to be able to talk with you. I know sometimes I'll ask you questions via email and you'll say, well, I can't answer that. That's top secret.
Yes, some things I can't answer. Yes, that's true.
So I do like to press in a little bit with you. But Doug, creating jobs is so critical right now because we're hurting. What type of timetable would this be if we could get what I think you're saying is deregulation in some areas by the government for the space program so that we can privatize parts of it?
Exactly, almost instantaneous. I'd say within 2 years or less.
Oh, that's huge.
You would see a significant
shift.
shift.
That's faster than any stimulus plan.
Because the moment companies can start dealing with each other internationally is the moment that the money starts to flow to both sides and you start creating products. Right now, we've fallen into the consumer-based economy. And what did that get us? You know, you spin, you buy, you spin, you buy, you spin, you buy, and then we balloon and explode. We used to be a production nation. I mean, the auto industry was our powerhouse for the longest time. We used to make things and do things and sell that to the rest of the world. And then we started getting into invisible money and shifting, you know, banks and all that other stuff and investments and got out of producing things. So what we need to do is shift our next economic pillar to the space industry where we build space systems, spacecraft, hotels, whatever the case may be, for space-related systems and export that to the world and become a nation that builds things and does things.
Well, now, why space? I mean, I know why you love it. That's your thing.
Right.
You're the space dude. But for the rest of us, why space? Why do you think that's important?
It's amazing how much that you have in your everyday life that is a derivative of space technology
like
in
what?
some way. Oh, your cell phone, for one, without a doubt. If it's not for the communication satellites that are up there orbiting, you can't talk. Shape memory foam beds and those pillows designed by the space program, the Apollo program.
My new foam pillow that I got from, am I allowed to say Bed Bath & Beyond on the air? Well, I did. They had a sale recently.
Yeah,
I had one of those big coupons they send you in the mail. My foam pillow came from space technology?
Yeah, it was the seat cushions that the astronauts could sit on that could handle the G-forces.
My pillow was a former seat cushion.
Pretty much.
The design of it, you mean?
Yeah, the general technology involved. De-icing systems on airplanes. That the advanced ones so that your plane doesn't crash, that comes from the space industry.
And that's intuitive. I see that.
Exactly. Air traffic control system software. They do a lot of software.
Wow, I hadn't thought of it, but it makes sense.
You know, what other practical applications? There's a list of them. NASA creates something called Spin-Off. It's a magazine. And every year they talk about everything that NASA has done that ends up, CAT scan machine, kidney dialysis machine, microvalves and modern pacemakers. All space technology derivatives. When you start trying to design something for space, which is ultra complicated, ultra difficult, you end up inadvertently developing technologies that are used on a whole host of other things.
How about that?
Especially the medical community. We're always talking about healthcare and how to make it better for people. Space makes it better for people because it develops the technologies that prevent people from getting sick in the first place or help them recover faster.
Wow. So proud of you, Doug. Educate the world. J.C. Stewart, glad to see Doug. Cynthia in Ohio. Doug has a great way of making the very complex understandable. So glad you have him on. David Shea, how soon could commercial efforts move forward in Massachusetts? He is.
Within a couple of years, if the government would really just shift some regulations. I mean, it would always help to throw a little cash into it. I won't lie about that. I mean, how much stimulus have we not spent? If you could just take a portion of that and say, you know what, we're going to shift that to the space industry. Realize space programs take years to do, 5, 10, 15 years to do something major. Building a bridge takes what? A little bit of time and a couple of people. If you were to dedicate that money to something more long-term, you're talking the ability to stimulate people's entire career path. Oh, now that's interesting. That's a stimulus program that's generational almost. Over time with the same amount of money, you're saying. Exactly. Exactly. In fact, in some cases less, because once you spark it and change some of the regulations so that people can freely communicate information, ideas across oceans, now it can feed itself. Rick Beach writes, with the shuttle program on the way out, how do you feel about your own job's future? Also, any job openings? I'm a computer tech, but I'd sweep floors to work in the space program. Rick from South Carolina. I won't lie, it's tight, and all of us are kind of nervous about what's coming down the road. The Augustine report recently came out, and most of us are pretty certain that the shuttle is out the door. If it does get extended, it would be for a very short period of time, but a lot of us are doubtful. As for me, there are options for me because of my engineering background that I can go and do other things. What I really want to do is kind of what I'm doing right now. Educate and talk to people and show them how space really matters, how they can get involved. There's parts in my book that talk about what you can do, a call to action, organizations you can get involved with, ways to push politicians to really consider space not level 20 on their list, but more like level 3 or 4, because with space you end up solving a lot of these other top 5 issues right off the bat. Employment, education. Imagine kids, if they knew they could go to the moon and live there or work there, how many of them do you think would get into science, engineering, and technology if they knew it was happening?
Yeah, my 2-year-old would go in a heartbeat. She thinks that the moon is cool.
Absolutely.
Doug Mallette, Turning Point, How Space Exploration and Development Will Determine the Rise or Fall of Humanity. Doug Mallette, one of our Strat Brats, traveled all the way from Houston, Texas. You guys are huge fans of it. Oh, my God, you've got so much love. It's amazing.
Thanks, Strat Brats. Love you.
A shout out from Doug. Can we take him on a close-up and say that? Matt, are you in there?
Yeah, what's it?
All right, let's take Doug Mallette on a close-up and have him send a shout-out to his own Strat Brats.
He'll be on tomorrow, too.
You're going to come back tomorrow?
I am. I'm supposed to be on the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow.
3 p.m. Eastern with Eric Bowling?
Absolutely.
Whoever decides to show up.
Okay. Doug, a pleasure to have you. You've got your own Strat Brat fan club. Do I get to keep this one for
Absolutely.
We have a bookshelf here, by the way.
That is a dedication to the SR library.
Right, we do. We have a strategy room library. We'd love for you guys to get in on this. So if you have written a book and you're going to be in town, bring it with you, and we'll put it in a very special place that we display here. Right next to the carrot, I'm told by Matt.
Yes. I was the first person to use the carrot. I don't know if many people realize this, but if you look on my Facebook page, I'm the first one that got a carrot and went to the NASA Johnson Space Center giant front entry and took pictures of it with the carrot.
Excellent.
I am the first Strat Brat who got his own carrot.
All right, and took him to space,
and
kind of.
I'm trying to find a little astronaut uniform for him. It's kind of difficult.
We can probably help you out with that. Thank you so very much.
Thank you,
I know
Harris.
you're going to scoot out.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
can't wait to see you again.
Thank you so much.
And 3 p.m. tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, he'll be back in the strategy room with Eric Bowling's Hour. So great to have you.
And I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, Douglas Mallette. The book is on Amazon. Look it up by Douglas Mallette.
You're on my Facebook page, so if you go to
Absolutely.
Facebook.com/Harris Faulkner, you can find
I
it.
love talking to everybody. You got space questions, hit me up.
All right.